All right, happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Pat Cavlin here with the look at your extended forecast on KHOU 11 Plus. We do this every night. And there's not a whole lot going on right now, but we are tracking a front for the holiday weekend. That could bring us some higher rain chances. Good news, the tropics are quiet for now. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Right now, though, this evening, temperatures are still in the 80s. There's a lot of humidity out there. This is a big change from where we were Sunday and Monday, where dew points were in the low 60s. Now they are in the upper 70s. And so 86 feels more like 97 degrees in the shade. So any bit of sunshine out there obviously going to make it feel even worse. Like I mentioned, though, the tropics totally quiet at the moment. We're just a couple weeks away from the peak of the season. Our rain chances will start to diminish a little bit more as we get into tomorrow, but they come back for Friday and Saturday as a weak front approaches the area. That front's not going to bring us some cooler weather, but I do think it has a shot to bring us some lower humidity as we get into Sunday and on Monday for Labor Day. And that's the front that everyone's going to be talking about here as we go through the next few days. First things first, though, we'll take you outside. Things are really quiet right now. We had one storm on the north side of the city earlier. That just totally fell apart. So as we take it through the rest of the evening, we will just see partly cloudy skies. It will be warm and muggy, though. Again, temperatures tonight with the higher humidity only dropped to the upper 70s, close to 80 in a few spots. We've got an impulsive energy that'll pass to our north as we get into tomorrow. So I do think it's a mix of sun and clouds, maybe just an isolated shower chance or storm, but that's going to be it. That wave of energy, though, will be trying to pull in some cooler weather, and that will bring us maybe some more storm chances for Friday and Saturday. I will say, though, that front's going to have a really hard time pushing in here with high pressure over the Gulf, so it will be kind of this tug-of-war battle. I think the front eventually wins out, but it will take a couple of days for that to actually clear through the area. So higher storm chances do come with that, though, as we get into Friday and Saturday. So there's future track for Thursday morning. Couple showers possible at the coast, at least for the first half of the day. Even up through noon, I think that's where the concentration will be. As we get towards the afternoon, maybe it's an isolated chance for a couple downpours. Maybe a few rogue thunderstorms develop, but that's pretty much going to do it for us. Heading into Friday, tons of sunshine to start the day. Friday starts off really nice. And I think even through the afternoon, we're pretty quiet here up until maybe 2 or 3 o'clock. That's when a few isolated downpours may start to develop. And then getting into the evening, it's more of a scattered chance. So a 40-50% chance for a couple of storms on Friday. I don't think it's a washout, but you will notice the rain chances start to increase a bit. Then getting into Saturday, I think this is the day that we're tracking more cloud cover and a better chance for some showers and storms, especially as we get into the afternoon and the evening hours as that front really puts the squeeze on the atmosphere. So we're going to take all of the humidity ahead of that front and it really starts to pool over the area. And as that front comes in, we squeeze it out in the form of those downpours and storms. So not a total washout of a day, but definitely not the drier half of the upcoming weekend. I think that comes in for Sunday. So notice it's an isolated chance for storms as we get into Thursday. Friday, about a 50-50 chance, scattered. I wouldn't say it's a washout of a day. Saturday, though, definitely plan maybe more activities inside than outside. You're going to be dodging some storms here, especially for the afternoon and the evening, but Sunday looks drier. Sunday, we're back down to the isolated category as some of that drier air hopefully starts to filter in. And then I think right now, Monday, fingers crossed, looks dry. So here comes that front. All the green here on the map indicates that humidity. Notice it gets pushed all the way through South Texas and offshore as we get into Labor Day on Monday. Sunday, I think, is going to be that transition day. So again, still maybe a 20% shower chance, especially for the morning hours. But by the time you hit the evening and then Monday, that's when I think you start to notice a bit of a difference. Now, in terms of temperatures, we don't really see much of a drop. There will be a long-standing cool spell, though, across the middle of the country and the East Coast. This pattern looks to kind of lock in for a good part of September. For us here at home, I still think we're hot. Remember, normal high temperature this time of year is 93. So even if we're in that gray strip where temperatures are expected to stay near normal, we're still in the 90s. So it will stay hot here getting into the beginning of September. It will be a bit cooler than normal, though, once you get through North Texas and the Panhandle. All right, in the tropics, all we've got out there right now is Tropical Storm Farallon. That's it. And this thing's going out to sea. Winds still at 50 miles an hour. It'll eventually become extratropical here, I think, in the next 12 to 18 hours. Behind that, there's nothing to keep an eye on for now. So what we have to do is we got to go all the way into the month of September. And what happens is the Climate Prediction Center under NOAA, they put out these long-range outlooks. And basically they take a look at a bunch of teleconnections and a bunch of long-range model data, and they kind of look to see where conditions become a little more favorable for development. And as we get towards the middle of the month, which also coincides with the peak of hurricane season, I do think we start to see an uptick in activity yet again here through the main development region, the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So where you see the yellow here, that indicates low probability for development, but where you get into that orange reddish color, that's where we at least have moderate probabilities for some tropical development. And that's pretty typical for this part of the world as we get into the peak of hurricane season. What's not typical is seeing development in our own backyard. And notice they've also highlighted the Southern Gulf and the Western Caribbean for development here as we get towards mid-September. Now, it is a low chance. I think this is probably tied to the potential, maybe some frontal boundaries pushing south, like the cold front that we've got coming through this weekend. Typically what happens is when those fronts come far enough south and they interact with the warm waters here, you get a little bit of spin with those storms that ride along the front. And if those storms can organize and kind of spin up into something, tropical mischief not out of the question. So I don't think it's likely, but there is the potential for some development in the Southern Gulf once we get towards mid-September. Aside from that, though, the rest of this month, the next few days, the few days that there are left, are quiet. Notice, on this map, nothing really jumps off the map at us. This is a map showing tropical organization. So the yellow and the orange here, where we see these little ribbons, they're just little ribbons of energy, and they're not really well consolidated, so we're not really concerned with any tropical systems developing. When we do start to perk up and notice the potential for development is when those ribbons start to become a little more consolidated. And keep an eye on Africa here as we put this into motion into September. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. So this kind of lines up with what the Climate Prediction Center was talking about as we get into the middle of September for that development. Okay, so we may have to go back probably a week from now. I think we'll be looking out towards the west coast of Africa for more tropical waves moving back over the open waters. Until then, though, nothing to worry about at the moment. Overnight temperatures will drop down to the upper 70s with warm and muggy conditions. For the day tomorrow, 95, couple isolated storms, not out of the question for us. But again, I don't think it's a big rain chance overall. I think we're going to see bigger rain chances once we get you into Friday and as we get into Saturday. Now, if you're doing any travel tomorrow, especially across the Northeast, I think conditions, they look okay for us. Temperatures will be in the 70s and 80s. Beautiful weather for New England. But we are going to be watching a front bringing rain chances out towards Cleveland, Buffalo, probably into Syracuse as well. So rain chances here through the Midwest. Getting into the Southeast, upper 80s for Jackson, Mississippi, 90s for New Orleans, out towards Tallahassee. Still some really comfortable weather from Nashville to Atlanta and Charlotte. More humid, hot, and stormy conditions getting into Florida. For us here across Texas, hot temperatures from El Paso to Midland into San Antonio. We'll be in the mid-90s here with a couple of showers and storms possible. More rain through Oklahoma City, up towards Springfield, Missouri, and then drier and more comfortable weather for places like Omaha, Chicago, St. Louis, Minneapolis, upper 70s. Back across the Southwest, more clouds, but should be mainly dry for LA, temperatures near 80. More sunshine for San Francisco. Phoenix catching a break from the monsoonal weather, 103 for you guys with sunshine. A little bit cooler up towards Denver with the storm chance. Salt Lake at 80 degrees with sunshine. And finally in the Pacific Northwest, upper 90s for Medford, Oregon. Upper 80s though for Portland. Seattle's beautiful mix of sunshine and clouds, low 80s. And again, comfortable temperatures, but a bit unsettled with shower chances as you head into the Intermountain West. All right, 7-day forecast for us here at home looks like this. 95 with an isolated storm chance tomorrow. More scattered activity then for Friday, upper 90s. So ahead of that cold front, we will see some more heat building for the end of the week. Then more cloud cover and storm chances will keep temperatures a little bit cooler in the low 90s for Saturday. Sunday, again, looking like the drier half of the weekend with just an isolated 20% shower chance, 92. A lot of sunshine coming up for your Labor Day, 93, and I think the humidity stays low, at least for these 2 days to begin the week before we get back into more isolated rain chances by Wednesday. That's a look at your forecast here on KHOU 11 Plus. We'll have another update coming up on the KHOU 11 News tonight at 10 o'clock. Hope to see you there.